Hi viewers at home, my name is Daniel and this is Ignite Entrepreneurs. As you know, this is a podcast to help upcoming business people in Kamloops, give them tips on how to set up their business and how to keep going so they won't give up on this hope. Today we have a special guest with us. I'll let her introduce herself, but she's a business person in Kamloops. Everybody knows her. My name is Zainab. You're welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Zainab Oladipo. I'm a Nigerian, and I am the CEO and founder of Afrofusion, amongst some other businesses. Yeah, and I've been at it for 4 years and going. Okay. Many more years to come.
Yeah. So you said amidst other businesses. Which other businesses do you have?
I have some other companies that I opened up, operating in Kamloops, still in the baby stages. So I try to, I run it, but it's a service business.
Okay.
It serves students or international, just anyone coming into Kamloops.
Okay.
Like I said, I see in the baby phase, and I don't want to be the face of it.
Okay.
So I try to keep it like anonymous, but until like it's steady, and then I'll put it out there. But for the most part, it's running right now.
Okay, that must be a business strategy to keep it secret.
It's not to keep it secret per se, because like I feel like the people that require the service don't know of it.
Okay.
However, I mean, like when I mean keep, it's like I want to be as attached to it as I am to Afrofusion.
Okay.
So yeah, just a company, no one knows who who owns it.
Okay.
I feel like it will help propel it further.
Okay, that's great. I'm happy to know. It's good to know that people in one business can also think about needs and try to solve problems in other areas as well.
Yes.
That's good. So, how was growing up like for you?
I was a mother. I've always been a mother. I'm the first girl. I have 4 siblings with 5 children, and my mom was a businesswoman also, and I've always wanted to be in the medical field growing up. So I wasn't too into the business, but I know that when I used to help my mom, and I feel like in all our children, I was the one that helped her the most in her business. Like, I used to go to, it's a shop. I used to go to the shop, I used to open and stuff like that. I did it out of obligation, not because I liked the business per se, but just out of obligation to my mom. I think it kind of left something in me where eventually that was the path I followed. But yeah, so growing up, I was always taking care of my siblings and I was just like their mom. I call them my kids.
Who was your greatest inspiration growing up?
I didn't have anyone per se. But one thing I always I feel like my greatest influence was just my religion, the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. It's like there's this saying that you just have to be the best at what you do, and so I feel like it influenced me in that anything I do, I just want to be like top. I think also I should also say my dad pushed me, I think with Nigerian parents, it's always like, somebody came first, you came second, do they have 2 heads? They always push you to be the top and be the best and everything. So that also kind of pushed me. So it didn't even matter what I did. I just wanted to make sure that I did it really good and did it well.
Yeah. That's good. What were the things that your dad did in particular that motivated? Was it his own way of life, or did it stay words?
So in terms of cooking, let's say for my business, I feel like a major influence was my dad and also the role I was growing up. Every weekend, I mean not every week on a Thursday, my dad would make me. I used to make, throughout growing up, I never made a small meal. I don't like that was my biggest difficulty, was to make one meal for like just one person. We used to make like large quantity of meals, and then we call it sadaka. We always give it out. So I was doing that every week. Every Thursday, my dad would be like, go and make beans and give this malam, give the migads, all the people outside in the street. So I've always been cooking for a large number of people. Whether it tasted good that time, I don't know. But, and then I always cook for my family of 7, So I've always been cooking large. And I feel like, so that kind of snowballed into the fact that when I came to Kamloops in 2015, I think in 2016, that was the first time I was doing the cookout, because I just felt like that. I remember that used to bring, like, they always used to gather and come together just to get the food, and they just all sit down. I really like that sense of community. So when I came here, feeling like I had no family here and anything, I came alone. I wanted to do that. I felt like food always brings people together, especially when it's free food, So I saved up for a little bit, and then I did my first cookout, and then it's been going ever since 2016 every year.
What has the reception been in Kamloops?
It's been amazing. Like Kamloops is one of those cities that people that are not in Kamloops say Kamloops. They think it's like a small city, but there's so much. Like, I feel personally attached to the city. I feel like even though I never knew Kamloops before I came here, I just felt like I'm meant to be here one way or the other. It's like this was where God was bringing me to. I have so many stories of things that, I was in a university in Nigeria. I tried to get into medicine and things like that. At the time, I was struggling so much to get into medicine, and when you finish school in Nigeria and then you have to go to university and you're not in school, you feel maybe your job is not high, you feel so left out. And so, all those things, I felt like if I had gotten what I wanted at the time, I probably wouldn't be here. But I feel like all those things kind of made me, me not getting what I wanted at the time kind of moved me to being here today. And Kamloops has a special place, man. Even if I live here, I don't know, but it's just a warm place to be in terms of like the people that come here. Most people come here for school. Some stay, some go. However, like the reception to Afrofusion, like I always say, Afrofusion is a thing because of the community, the people. They kind of pushed me to actually go for this. Like, I was doubting, and we can go into the story later of how it actually came up, but I was in big doubt. But I had people come to my house and tell me, hey, if you do not open, we're gonna riot. And I had customers sleep in front of my house. I have videos of this thing, and it's crazy, There are people that believed in me even when I was doubting that, can I do this, And when you have people rally behind you, entrepreneurship is a lonely journey, but when you have people rally around you, it gives you a sense of belief that, I have people that would appreciate this if I do it. Even if that may not be the case, but it kind of questions the effect and helps you. So I would say the reception has been amazing. Kamloops has been great to me, and it's always going to be home for me, one way or the other.
My family is of
that, yeah.
But what was the doubt about? You said you were doubting.
Yes, so at the time I opened, like I just finished school. I had started Afrofusion before I finished school, and as you know, I went to school to be a nurse. So I wanted to go practice my nursing, and I had gotten, like, I wanted to move to Vancouver. So, I had made an announcement where I'm going to stop, because I was cooking from home. So I'm going to stop cooking from home. I'd packed up my bags to leave Kamloops. And and then I think maybe 2 weeks before I left, I got a call for a place I had been looking for. I had found, so the thing is, I had found a place. If I go back, I found a place, and unfortunately somebody else took the place. By the time I found the place, I had believed that I was going to get the place. So that pushed me to, I registered my business, did everything, did the logo and everything, because I felt I was opening a place, you know. And then just last minute, somebody else took it. So I was like, oh no, I'm not going to, you know, this kind of put a dent in my whole plan. And so I had just put it on the side burner. Then I went hiking. I broke my leg. So I couldn't go to work. And I was at home. And then I just thought, you know what? I'm going to do this. So that's how I started doing it from home, right? And so when I stopped, I was going to move out from Kamloops. And then 2 weeks before I moved, I got a call that another space was available. I was doubting if I should just move out, and just because I had a nursing job waiting for me, and like, you know, that is more security. Or should I just go for this? And I decided to stay, and I took it. I took the place, but that had a lot of challenges that I did not expect. I took the place hoping to start, but I did not open for another 5 months just because of so much challenges that I had to overcome. I didn't know anything about opening a restaurant or opening a space in Canada. So there was so much things that I had to do, even the renovation of the place, a lot of costs that I wasn't prepared for. So it took me another 5 to 6 months before I eventually opened. And that during that time I was working to raise money and things like that. So it's been a journey, but I feel like every time I have a disappointment, it always just points me back to doing this. That's why I really, really believe that this is something that I was supposed to do.
What are the challenges that you faced that made you take that one? So,
the place I got, I did not know at the time, which is like wild. Right now, if I was to advise somebody, I would say, make sure, you know, there's so many research you have to do as a person. You know, not just jump at the next opportunity that came. I did not know the place was not approved for cooking. It was more like a baking approval. So, and I had already gotten the lease and everything. So when I went to the city to open it up as a cooking place, they couldn't approve it. So we had to do major improvement to the space. So I had to put in a vent. You know, like, I just finished school, I don't have money. So it's like, honestly, the whole building of the whole place, like the tiles, the plumbing, everything I did. And I found an older gentleman. Everybody in Kamloops knows, every restaurant owner knows this man. His name is Sam. He's an older, he's like, I think he's in his 80s, and God sent him my way because he has been in the restaurant business for over 50 years. He has done almost hands in hand in almost all restaurants in Kamloops. And we became so like friends, and we did it together. Like, he helped me, put me in the right direction. I feel like if I was alone, I'd probably take 10 months doing this, but he kind of shortened the time duration of what and told me the steps and things to take. So we had to do like modification to the place, put in a vent, and just make sure that it's approved for the city, and which they did. And then, you know, having to open a restaurant, you have to do some courses, food safety, you know, level 2, and then also like building the menu, you know, having a business license. Well, I had that before. And then just like POS, there's just so much payroll. There's actually so much back end that goes into like actually them cooking, you know. So I began to understand that knowing how to cook is one thing, but setting up a business around the food is a whole different thing, right? And I learned on the job, but it cost me some things, you know. When you learn on the job, you get, So I learned on the job. I learned a lot, and
That story sounded like you should just keep talking and going on. I was going to ask a question before we go on.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, do you think starting a business is tied to destiny or luck? You just fall into, oh, we're just lucky, or is it something that you just can't run away from?
I think that when I personally, this is just a personal opinion, I don't think entrepreneurship is for everybody. Just because any entrepreneur there or any business owner would attest to this, that it's a very lonely, and there's so much highs and so much lows, that if you're not strong in your faith, I also think faith also plays it gives you something to fall back on. Or you're not strong in the dream, you don't hold the picture, the mental picture. It's very hard to go on when you have those lows, right? And everybody doesn't have the fortitude. This is just how life is, to be mentally strong when things are not going well, right? So I personally don't think entrepreneurship is for everyone. In terms of, is it tied to your destiny? I think the kind of person you are kind of would also determine like how the path you will go, right? It's just like saying, is everyone destined to be an athlete? It's not everybody. There's some people that are okay with training for 3 years and only, having that recognition for like 10 seconds, which is like delayed gratification, right? So not everybody's okay with that. So I think, however you are as a person will determine whether you are destined to, In terms of luck, I think luck still plays a huge role. Some people do fall into entrepreneurship, and you might fall into it maybe when the lows, like for most businesses, the first 4 or 5 years is quite tough. And imagine you got a business that's been like 6 years ago. You might not, 6 years already in the making, you might not have to have gone through that, and you just take an already established business. You have a business, right? So there's the luck, there's the time factor, and there's also the individual factor that goes into like the whole thing. But in general, I think there's a lot of factors that play into whether you can actually build something from ground and have it successful.
For people who have an idea, or people who just say, look, I just want to do business, I want to make money. How do you find a business idea? How do you think one of the best ways, or a few ways to find business ideas?
Well, in terms of business, like my first business being Afrofusion, I would say I didn't sit down and think about a business. I didn't go through the route I took, which maybe if they are teaching business, maybe it's a route, but the route I took was, I was doing something for free for a long time. I understood that there was a demand for it, and then I converted the people that I had into customers. It's after the fact that I'm looking at it and like, okay, this is what I did. But at the time, I was just going with the flow, right? Now, the next business I opened, it's something that had been a lack. It's like, I know there's a demand for this. Nobody's doing it. I can do it. I've been here for so long. I know in and out of Kamloops. I can do it. I'm going to do it. So I think from my own experience, I see a demand or I see the lack thereof of I see a need, and then I fill the gap. So if I was to advise somebody, I would say, make sure that there's a demand for whatever it is that you think, because business basically is just, to sum it up, it's like demand. People want something that you have and they're willing to pay for it. So you cannot just start a business and it's harder. It's not like it's impossible to try to convince people that they need what it is you are selling. But it's just a harder route to take. It's not impossible. But I would say that to make it easy, it's not like you're not still going to have the lows anyways, but to make it easy is that there has to be demand. If businesses that have demand are facing lows, imagine a business where there is no demand, it's going to be really tough. So another thing is I like to think in terms of a customer. I think thinking in terms of a customer also kind of helps me make adjustment here and there. Some people say you're always changing things, but it's like I like to think like I'm always growing and I always take feedback and I try to make things better, right? So it's like when you think if you don't think as a provider, think as a customer, you would see things in a different perspective. In my case, I have to think of as a customer a lot of times because like it's just me. You know, when you have a partner, you have someone that you have two perspectives to the whole thing, or even more perspective. It's different. But when it's just you, well, I would say it's just me because I speak to my mom, I speak to my parents, they always give ideas and things like that. But, you know, I'm the one here, I know what is practical. And so I always bounce things with my friends here and there. But I like to look at things from a customer's perspective and always think, okay, if I was a customer, how would I want this? So if you have an idea, probably let's say, for example, you think, you know what, I want to sell umbrellas, for example. Maybe umbrellas that cool, that has a fan in it.
True.
You know, it's a seasonal thing. It's going to be for just summer. But also do you think that customers, I mean, if you were a customer, would you want to buy, maybe spend an extra dollars for an umbrella that has a fan? You know, who are the people that would likely like that? If I can think about that, I think about people that like to go to the park. Instead of taking a hand fan, you have just one umbrella covering your chair and also has a fan on there, right? It cannot be bulky because people don't, you know, somebody already carrying chairs, they're carrying things to the park. So you always have to think about, when you think from the customer's perspective, then you're able to see so many things that you probably wouldn't see as someone just trying to produce a product.
That's empathy for the customer.
Yes.
That is fantastic. Because many of us just think, money. And we're not thinking about
the money aspect. You know, the funny thing about money is that I think most business owners say, like, you can be asset rich but very cash poor. You know, there are so many times I've had zero in my account, like zero, don't know where the next rent is coming from. And, you know, you just say business and everyone's like, money. It's not money. There's so much overhead and so much, especially in my line of business, there's so much overhead, so much that you have to take into consideration. And, you know, you're always reinvesting and things like that. So it's like, you might not even see the money. And that's something about a business, is that you have to be the type that is okay with delayed gratification. If you're okay at working at the thing without seeing the fruit of your labor for 4 or 5 years, then you're good for business. Because maybe you may do a business that would shoot up in profits the first year. You know, but maybe you might do a business and you will even say the profit for another 4 or 5 years. How do you want, like, are you willing to, you know, keep doing it, right? And without seeing what you're doing. There's a meme or there's a picture that comes to mind. There's this guy that was digging for gold. I think it's very popular. And then there's just a little bit left for him to dig. And then he turns back, you know? So that's how it is for so many entrepreneurs. You know, 4 or 5 years, they're like, this thing is not working. And you know what? There's a difference between something is not working and, you know what? It's just, you know, it's just time. It's just a time game.
So it's like planting a seed.
Yeah.
You know, because when I used to plant little corn when I was very young.
Yeah.
Back in Nigeria. So I would go back and say, it's not growing. And I'm like, what's happening? Like a week, what's going on? Yeah. But then one day, just this little thing come up, bing, it's there, and then you stop. So business is pretty much like planting a seed.
Yes.
And then waiting for it to grow. Yeah. So it's more about being consistent, being patient as well.
Yes.
Okay. Now, you talked about checking to see if there's a need.
Yeah.
How can one find out what needs? How do you know where the needs are?
I think, like, it depends on the business. Take, for example, well, I'm going to talk a little bit about a business that I started. So take, for example, when people come into Kamloops, people just come in. They have nobody. They have, like, if you don't know anybody, you're literally just you just try to figure things out on yourself. Yeah, you're walking in blind. So, like, if you were in Kamloops, like you've seen that, or you've come to Kamloops, you say you've seen that this is an issue. Sometimes you even like lose money just because you maybe paid for a place or something like that. There's always mistakes that people make when they are new to an environment. So what I'm trying to point out is there are some businesses that your environment will determine the need. Like you can tell because you live in there, you haven't gone through that. You know that if I had somebody to like kind of soft land me, it would be a different situation. I probably wouldn't lose money. I probably wouldn't. Some people stay in a hotel for 2 months, paying every day. Thousands of dollars just because they don't know how to get a place or they don't know where to go and stuff like that. So I've met a lot of people like that, and so like your environment sometimes will determine like you having the first-hand experience also can. If you sit down and look at what are the things that sometimes you're like, oh, I wish something was here, oh, I wish this. What are the things that you are wishing that somebody else has done? That also would determine, because if someone else has done it, you probably would have used it. So that's a need even from your own self. So you just going like thinking and being aware of your surroundings and thinking, okay, everything that has happened or being like that we see physically, it's a result of people's thought. And so there's going to be a lot of mental action before physical. So and don't be afraid to test. There's some things that take money to test, but also you can test some things free by just having conversation with people. Go out there and have people always like around at the park, get wherever, just get feedback. And I'm trying to create this. Would you use this? Would you use that? Doing surveys would also help, like eliminate the guessing game in finding what the demand is. And also, we all live in the internet space, and this is where a lot of people are making like a lot of money from. So people are saying, oh, you know what? If I make an AI for this, people will probably use it. If I make an AI, so there's also that digital space that is not physical. That maybe if I make an app that translates from English to French because some people want communication. That's how people are creating things. Basically, it's just a thinking thing that if this was there, people would use it, and all this like in the online space, most times the startup cost is way lesser, right? So you can really experiment with a lot of things there.
So observation, and experience, personal experience, and also other people's experiences. So there has to be a lot of putting the head down and then opening eyes to see.
Because as a business owner, you're not selling things for you. You're selling things to others. So a lot of ears to people. A lot of ears. If a lot of people are saying, I wish about a certain thing, then chances a lot more people will say, so always remember that the product is not for you.
What about the situation where the need is being met by a particular business, that same need, but then you still have that same idea? Maybe there's a barber or there's a taxi service, and you want to open your own. Can you learn from people who are doing it already? Or competition?
Yes, I would say competition is so good. It took a lot of thinking, even at my own business, that for me to realize that competition is really great because you can use it to your own advantage. All you need to do is make sure that you have your competitive advantage has to be something it's not just in the name, has to be the way you deliver the service. I feel like if you deliver a service let's take for example, we have taxi here, cabs and stuff like that, in Kamloops, and you wanted to have your own taxi company. Just look at the pain points of customers are using cabs and try to correct that in your own business. That alone is enough to get a number of people for you. To your business, right? I won't say for like copying the businesses, because at the end of the day, you're gonna have your lows, and you better like what you're doing because you're gonna give up. It's not easy to keep going at something when you don't see the result. So if you have a passion for something, do not let the fact that somebody else is already doing it deter you, right? If you truly believe that yours is not the same, it's unique, it's different, and you believe that people would really like what it is that you want to put to them. Because if I even use like Afrofusion as an example, like if somebody else were to open a restaurant right now, I would really encourage it. However, just because it's a small town, I'll say, you know what, you can open an African restaurant. Why don't you? Because there's a lot of East Africans. There's no East African restaurant. Having that East African food on your menu, it's an idea I'm actually exploring also myself. But it's like, I'm just putting it out there that having that East African food on your menu and having other African food on your menu, it's still an African restaurant, but then you're also catering to a lot of people that are not even being catered to by Afrofusion at the moment, So it's like, it's a competition, it's a competitive advantage for you. So it's not like you're doing this exact same thing. There's a difference. And people like, they like trying different, because if it's the same thing, people are like, oh, it's the same. Like, what's the point, And it's like, what is it that you're after,
Exactly.
What are you after? So I believe that if somebody is already doing something, just look at how you can be different, how you can serve a different thing that they are not serving, and go for it. Let that be the highlight of what it is that you're doing, right? It's to drive competition, but it's healthy, because why I say competition is so good is because, one, it gives the customer an appreciation for your business. If, let me say, there was a business that opened and if they weren't good, they'll be like, oh, I really like Afrofusion. Like, after trying this, like, it gives, and you as a business, you're going to up your game. I personally do not wait for somebody to come before I personally up I'm my own competition. Like, I'm always trying to be, like, better in everything I do. But it also, like, it gives you ideas. It gives you, like, okay, how can we return our customer? Your customers totally now become, like, your top priority. Like, you want to make sure that they are taken care of really good. So the customer at the end of the day always wins. And you get better. You are able to have insight that you've not even had before. Maybe because if you're just the only one or whatever, your perspective is just low. But when somebody else is coming, you are looking at, okay, what can I do? And you're getting better, and they are getting better, and the customer is happy.
Before we go to the high points, thank you so much already. But before we go into the high point of the show, which is giving us maybe 5 things that really helped your business. Before we get into that, still on competition. I know some people that take competition wrong. There's jealousy, there's envy, there's even maybe hatred sometimes. How can one have the right mindset, so that competition will be seen as something positive, not as a threat or a reason to fight each other and tear each other's banner down?
I would say I take this from my religion also. There's a lot of things I take from my religion, is that whatever is yours is yours. 1, 2, we humans are the only ones that think about lack. This abundance. God is an abundant God. Like, look at nature. There's enough for everyone. If you look at things like that, it will be hard for you to, because what you're fighting for is not yours. That's how I say it, right? It's like, I don't, it's just changing the way you look at life. As everything, 90% the mind, 20% physical. You have to do a lot of battle with the mind, with your mind to set yourself right every day, and it's a constant thing, right? Because there's going to be those whispers and, oh, you're trying to do this, you're trying to do that. We're humans, we're going to feel a little bit of, but I would say if you're in that space of competition, you have to say, what is God trying to teach me? What am I missing that I need to get better at? And depending on who your competitor is, honestly, sometimes competitions can work, like you guys can work together in a way that benefit both of you, right? Take for example, you have two restaurants. I host a restaurant because, you know,
yes.
Yeah. And you guys are selling almost the same thing. Imagine you guys coming together and your buying power is low, your buying power is low because you're buying for only one place. But you put your money together and buy a larger quantity where both of you can share. You're gonna save a lot more because now your buying power is higher. Those are ways that if you guys work together, you would see, you know, more profits and stuff like that, right? But a lot of people don't like they just see competition, they see there's like evil and bad and stuff like that. But I don't really necessarily think it's evil, depending on, you know, how the other person is also like, some people can visually like try to sabotage your work, and you know, people wouldn't like that. So I can see where that would come from if people are actively trying to sabotage. But it's just like someone just opening and stuff like that. Like honestly, people come to me every time I want to open a restaurant, and I tell them and I talk to them. I'll tell them I personally would advise, hey, we don't do it. And I don't say don't do it because I'm trying to discourage you. But like, if you're not strong enough, I would say this is a very difficult thing. And I'll just be brutally honest. Then whatever you do, whatever you take. So I think it's a mindset thing, but also looking at it that it's a lesson. There's something I need to learn. There's something. Just look at it as a stepping stone. You know, it's like how do I say? It's like a gasoline now. You know, it's like a car just driving and then someone puts gasoline and it's like it's ready. Just look at it as something that's going to propel me to my next. You know, if you're in one location, you're like, you know what? Maybe I should open 2 locations. How about that? You know, so it's like just look at it differently than your mind would want you to perceive it. It might be hard, especially if your numbers are going down. It's easier said than done. But if your numbers are going down, then you'd be like, you know what? If people can just steal your customers easily, that means there's something that you were not doing well. Initially. So it's maybe give you room to get better, or you know, become better.
So it's the mindset. It's all about what you want to achieve.
Yes.
Yeah. That's more than self-pride.
Yes.
That's brilliant. Okay. To the 5 principles or points or tips. What are the 5 things that helped you in your business?
I would say my business is far from successful, so I'm not even there yet. However, I'm always like trying to grow and trying to get better. The things I've been able to, that I would say I'm actually taking into account right now, is you need to learn from a mentor. Having a mentor speeds. Like it's just like fast track to success. And I am still on the wait list for this mentor that I really, really want to work with. But however, I was able to get in contact with somebody from Nigeria who he has the most popular restaurant in Lagos now. It's called Ileyo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I, put to my ego aside and I went to him like, hey, I need help. Because at the end of the day, I have never done a restaurant business. I have not done, I just opened this, and it's like this opportunity. This responsibility has fallen upon me. It's not like I took proper schooling or anything, right? So it's like always knowing that there's always room to learn. Experience is really the best teacher, but there's always room to learn, and learning from other people's experience is also very vital.
Number 2.
Number 2 would be to continuously learn. I think I learned this from nursing. We always do, every year we always do like assessment, and you always, even if you're on the field, right, you're always learning, but you always have to do self-reflection and always learn, okay, this is what I don't know. I need to learn this. This is what I don't know. I need to learn this. Like things I've learned accounting. I love numbers, but accounting, I give it like a special kudos to accountants. Like before now, I just thought it's not just numbers, but no, tax and things like that. There's so many things that you have to learn as a person, and always know that you don't know it all. No matter how many years you've been in the game, things are ever changing, right? And so don't be scared to like implement things that you learned into your business and see how it goes, right? So I would say, the king for knowledge, because with knowledge comes with power. But however, it's like sometimes you learn things and you don't implement it. I'm also guilty of that sometimes. Like I have so much ideas, but I'm just like, I'm scared to try this and try that, you know, just try to implement it. Especially when you already have a business, it's easier. You already have the people. Try it out. So I would say, yeah, always learn and be willing to try out new things.
Okay, so continuous improvement,
Yes,
be a lifelong learner.
Yes.
So there's never a point you get to and say, I know enough.
Yeah.
I know enough. Thank you. You keep learning.
You keep learning.
Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah.
Number 3.
This is what I've learned also, is having the right team. Like this is people that are like working for you right now, right? It's not easy to gather a team, but you want to gather a team of people that are more knowledgeable than you. In fact, be the most incompetent person in that room, because you being a leader and being incompetent around competent people would force you to even become even more competent. Interesting. Yeah. So like, take for example, like having like a team of people who let me say fast. Their customer service is really good, and maybe even people that really keep to time. You know, even more than even you would do as a boss. You know, you being the leader, and you have people that embodies these things that you as a person are want you in your organization, would also kind of improve you as a person, because you feel like you're in a not really up there, but you're in a position of authority, so you have to embody this thing, right? So it also improves you as a person, but also it helps the business, you know. You should not be the smartest person or anything, because like you should always hire people that you feel will challenge you. Basically, that's the whole point.
It's almost opposite what we've learned. Like, oh, you have to be the smartest, the best, the boss, the leader, But I think that speaks to ego and pride.
Yeah.
If you want to be a leader, ego and pride goes to the back.
Yeah.
You know, or even take it out altogether.
Yeah.
Because you have to learn from it.
You
have to learn from your staff, your team who are smart.
Yeah.
And don't be intimidated. Like, oh, they have 20 degrees, I just have a diploma, you know.
Yeah.
They're smarter for a reason, and the business is there for a reason as well.
Yeah. And that's what you said. I just want to tell you, there was a time I hired someone that had a PhD degree, and I felt so like he wasn't even like, I just felt like, how would I hire this person? Like, I just felt like I am so unqualified to hire him. But I did, and like, he's still my friend up to today. He's my very good friend, and he is someone that would, you know, which would go back to my fourth point, is he would get feedback from everyone and come and tell me that this is what it is, right? So yeah, being like people that are way qualified than you, they have more life experiences, especially tailored to whatever business you are in, it would help you. It will help you.
That's true.
Yeah.
Did I get a hint that your fourth point is feedback?
Exactly. Feedback should even be number one, but feedback is so important. It's so important because it's like, take for example, you make me a meal, and your job is to feed me, and you make a meal and you give me the food, and I'm like, I don't like this food. Or you make me rice, and I'll be like, hey, I don't like rice, I like spaghetti. Feedback is you taking the rice and making spaghetti. Now, when you don't take feedback, it's like, I'm saying I want spaghetti, but you go take the food and bring another rice. You can do it 10 times, and I still wouldn't eat the food.
Still want spaghetti.
Exactly. But if you took the feedback once, you only had made the mistake one time. So feedback literally helps. It saves you time. It saves you from wasting resources, because you're going back and making different types of rice when all I want is spaghetti. It's a waste of time on your part.
Why would it be hard for people to take feedback?
Sometimes they put personal above business. You know, like in our community is small. a lot of people do text me. Maybe they had a bad experience one way or the other, and they know me, so they be like, "Hey, this and that," and I'm able to take correction or able to take action immediately. However, sometimes some people, maybe when they hear this and that, they just be like, "Why is she telling me this?" And some people don't like hearing anything bad when it comes to their business, because everybody's business is like their baby, It's like you have your child and someone is saying your child is bad. But understanding that whatever this person is telling you is their experience in regards to your product. And so, except someone is very malicious, there's no reason for anyone to lie. It might not be the intention of your product to give them that experience, but regardless, that's the experience they have. So you have to find a way to, you can't use all feedback to change your business, because you have a running model that probably works. But when you hear the same thing over and over again, you need to take it into consideration, right? Some feedback would just maybe change the way your staff talk to patients. Your staff talk to clients, or it can just maybe change the service model. Not necessarily the food, but there's some feedback that you keep hearing, like, okay, maybe I should change this and that. So it kind of just gives you insight of what people are perceiving out there, and it helps you. What's the point of doing something 10 times and finding out that, maybe I should change it, when you can just literally do it once and know that maybe I should change it, right? True. It also goes into like trying things and being like, okay, if customers are saying this, maybe we should do it this way and see how it works, right? It's just being open to feedback. Is just like, it's a tool that just helps improve. Feedback is just an improvement tool.
Number 5.
I forgot the question. What was the question? I'm number 5 and I don't know what I'm answering.
Let's see if we can recap. The first. I remember we talked about feedback is the last one.
Yeah.
We talked about let your team be smarter than you. We talked about what's the other one?
I think I was talking about mentor.
Yeah, the first one.
Are we number 4 or number 5?
We're number 4.
4? This is number 4, right?
This is number 4. Number 4 is feedback.
Feedback. Okay, so number 5.
Yeah, number 5.
It's an interesting one. What can I say?
You have so many.
There's so many.
Tips.
I know.
But the one that, this one we can't do without. And it's a very important key to success. Quality. Great. Quality service.
Quality everything. Though I say competition is good, but make it hard for there to be a competition in the first place. I would say 2 things. It's 2 in 1. It's quality and brand. Let people associate your brand with quality. I would say, like I said, this is things that I'm learning even on the go, and I'm trying to implement in my business. I would say, like, in the beginning, it was like that for me. When you expand, that's the thing. It's like, it's just beyond you, and it can have some dent here and there with your business. I'm even trying to rebrand my business, but one thing is never, like, make sure that the quality that people are getting, the value they're getting from, they don't feel ripped off. Someone made a statement that food is only expensive when it doesn't cop whatever it is that you wanted from the food. So let's say you buy food, you want it to be, you want to feel like the Nigerian way back home. If the food is $50 and you feel that way, it might not, well, I don't know, but it might not feel as expensive.
Of course, you're satisfied.
You're satisfied. So people would only complain about something being expensive when they feel like it's just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So make sure that your brand is associated with quality, because that is something that I feel like most competition comes from. They come from price, they come from quality, right? competitive pricing. Make sure that it's not like you're trying to kill people to be able to, and just make sure that as much as you can, make sure the quality is up. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you. That's all I can say. Thank you for everything. Thank you for sharing. It's not easy, and it's not usual that people will share their trade secrets, share their story. People see it as being vulnerable, but you've opened up, you shared everything with us, right from being inspired by your dad all the way, and how you found the idea and how you were even intimidated by the PhD degree. But thank you so much. We've learned a lot. I've learned a lot, and I hope viewers at home have learned a lot as well. The importance of mentors, the importance of taking feedback, of finding a need, putting your ear to the ground, observing, and also use your experience. What have I gone through? Is there something that could have made my life easier? If it's not available, can I start it? Talk to people, be humble, be patient, and keep going all the way. Don't give up because you started today or you started last month. You feel you should have made profit, like I should have doubled. It takes a while. So stay in power. Most of all, your vision. What do you want to achieve? What do you want your customers or clients to also achieve? Quality as well. So thank you for staying with us. Stay tuned. There will be another episode after this. I want to say a big thank you to Zainab as well for taking out time. Very busy schedule, but she took out time. She's a mom. And she runs businesses. So thank you so much for coming. And thank you for watching. See you next time. Thank you. Bye. Thank you.